light, daylight, all the time. And on sunny days, you almost felt like you were sitting outside. It was that bright.
That's the 5 degrees?
Well, it was a factory. I thought it would be dark and dirty.
Then why go to work there?
I was 15. It was time I paid my own way.
Pay your own way? What about school?
Well, I didn't miss it so much. Girls were all so nice there. The work wasn't hard. It wasn't like factory work, really. It was more like art painting those guys. We were artists.
I'm not the one you should be talking to. Mon's a shot. That's who you have to talk to.
Now, Arthur, you know you won't talk to us.
But it was his process.
Tell me about the process, Arthur. You used the powder.
We used the powder. The girls mixed it in with an adhesive to make the paint. Now, business with the brushes, I didn't invent that. They were doing that when I started here.
What do you do about it?
We all knew about it. Just didn't know what it meant.
Irene, hi Grace. Irene, what are you doing? Amelia's working section today. Is that bad? Not for us. She's going to be sitting in this room all day by herself in the dark checking dials. Poor thing. Poor thing. So we're going to give her a little surprise. Boo, like the Cheshire Cat. Won't that make her mad? Let her get mad. That's half the fun. I don't want to make her mad. Oh, Grace, do you always have to be that way about everything? What way? Grace, put some on your teeth. I mean, it ain't like Amelia don't deserve it. She paints more dials than any girl on this floor, and can't be bothered to talk about it either. You say, hey Amelia, what's new? And she just kind of looks at you funny.
Well, I don't think she can speak much English.
Wouldn't kill her to smile, would it?
She's coming. Come on, Grace. Boo, boo. This is Amelia.
Hey, your face is when you're going on your minds.
It was just a joke.
Just a joke? A joke like that can girl her joke.
Now, Mrs. McNeil, I'm sure that won't be necessary.
I don't tolerate no foolishness, doctor.
Yeah, very good. We don't want foolishness, do we? Mr. Reed, this is the inspection room. All the dials on here that are taken, and here are some of the girls who should, on the floor, be working. Girls, this is Mr. Reed, my new vice president and your new plant manager.
And I was just said, Mr. Reader, to thank you to girls we have here. I'm sure now we must take our halfway out to my mind.
Mr. Reader, perhaps you have words for the girls. Mrs. McNeil?
Well, girls, this paint you've been playing, it's very expensive. Do you realize this? It takes several tons more just to produce 1 single gram of radium. That's a lot of work, and hard work, for the men in the factory. But they do the work gladly. Do you know why? What they're working for? What we're all working for?
The war?
That's right, the war. See, our boys in the field depend on these dials, read them in the dark, and mistaking what they see. Otherwise, some of our boys won't be coming home. So girls, if you play around and don't take the work seriously, you're playing into the hands of the Kaiser. We don't want that, do we?
No, sir.
Very good then. So let's leave the tomfoolery to home and get back to work.
I just wanted to say, I am sorry. I won't do nothing like this ever again.
Well, dear, just keep in mind, you do right by us, we'll do right by you.
May 17th, 1921. Nancy B. Carl here for the New York Graphic, the Graphic's only girl reporter.
Jack Hewitt here for the Newark Legend, Newark's first source for news.
Madame Marie Curie, eminent French scientist, embarked on a whistle-stop tour of the United States.
First stop, New York City. She's greeted by an enthusiastic crowd of well-wishers.
The high priestess of science heading for Washington State to receive a gift of 1 gram of radium, valued at $100,000.
Purchased for her by the Marie Curie Radio Club, an association of over 100,000 American women.
We each donated $1 to support humanitarian research of radium.
Hi, Grace. Hi, Reed. Catherine, look, I got my certificate. Member Marie Curie Radium Club. You gave $1? Well, it's all for science. Science? What about my room and board? Oh, here she comes. Well,
Although, in typical fashion of scientists who can think only of her research, her life's work, she has refused to rest.
Madam Curie, what will you do with the radium?
But,
What will you do with the radium?
I will continue my experiments to find better methods for the treatment of the cancer.
Is radium a cure for all cancer?
Cure for the cancer? Yes, cure for the cancer. That is so. This has already cured all kinds of the cancer.
But some doctors do that.
Then they do not understand the method. There is no question. Radium will cure the cancer.
Madam Curie!
Madam Curie,
Madam Curie! How do you devote yourself to science and to your children?
This is not that easy. But my daughters share my gratitude to the American women for their interest in science and my work. I am most grateful.
Madam Curie!
Madam Curie.
No more questions. Madam Curie is on a tight schedule. Mrs. Andrew Carnegie has sent a car and will escort Dr. Curie personally, as will I, to Washington, where President Harding will present a gift of 1 gram of radium.
You see that, Charlie? That's a marketing opportunity. Let's send to one of our launches, courtesy of the United States Radium Society. We'll need a press release. Radium isn't just for scientists to study it. The average American can share its glory every night. His watches, his clocks, anyone who thinks these inventions are just novelties, take a look at the inventions of the past 50 years. The electric light, the telegraph, the telephone, the automobile. All inventions once dismissed as novelties or toys
Are now essentials to modern life. Got it. That ought to sell some watches.
Watches, absolutely, but that's not what the growth is now, Charlie. You heard the lady. It's the medical market.
And Standard Chemical owns it.
But only because Von Shockey lets them take it. But if we wanted to, we could get half their business. It's just a matter of position.
Standard Chemical publishes its own journal. Sends it out monthly to 12,000 doctors. We could do something similar.
Something scholarly, the doctors would respect.
A bibliography. Listing every article ever published on radio.
Well, with capsule reports, the doctors find the info, they find it fast.
And have us to thank for it.
We'll send it to every doctor in the United States Radium Society.
Every doctor in the American Medical Association.
That's the spirit, Charlie. Advertising. It's not just the product, it's the way you promote it.
You should have seen it, Grace. The church is beautiful, filled with flowers, lilies, carnations, and orchids. You know how Amelia loved orchids? Those weren't orchids. They were orchids, Irene. Flags. Purple orchids. I know an orchid when I see one. Oh, Grace, that smell, it was like
Flowers.
like heaven. I was gonna say it's like heaven.
Like heaven. Catherine, it was just a funeral. You're making it out like it was some Valentino picture.
It wasn't just a funeral. It was Amelia's. It was beautiful. You should have seen it, Grace. The church was like a tin garden. And companies up, they spray the flowers too. Carnations.
Mums.
Yellow carnations.
Those were mums. Well, it sounds like it was a nice service anyhow.
Girls! Whistle dart! Now then, I received no instructions to stay. We're going back to the old way of pointing the brushes. We was losing too much paint in the fall.
But
Yes, Grace, something you wish to say?
Dr. Von Shockey told us not to do that. He said it was unsanitary.
Unsanitary? But I can't hardly believe you say such a thing. We've been doing this for as long as I've been here. You must have misunderstood him.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're not getting any new brushes to dump the old. It's going to be so bad, you can't get a point no more.
Can't make water like that.
Well, do your best then, since I have my instructions.
I need a new brush.
It's not for us to be asking questions, is it? It's for us to work.
I have my instructions, girls. I have my instructions.
Well, here's an instruction for you, McNeil. Let's give it a start on your course. Was she at the service?
McNeil, you think she crossed the street for her own mother? Most everybody else was, though, Grace. She was about the only girl from the floor who wasn't.
Well, I wanted to come, but Mom was working and I had to watch the little ones.
Could have brought them. All 7. Well, it was me. I tried to get there.
Just lay off. Grace feels bad as it is. Were many of the fellas there?
Oh, yeah. Lots of fellows from downstairs. Mr. Rock from the front office, Dr. Shockey, and Mr. Reader.
And he left early.
So, who's are all the same? And, Grace, remember that fellow from Crystallize It? The one with the red hair?
The tall one with the freckles?
That's the one who snaps his fingers all the time.
Jerry.
Think it's George?
It's Jerry. Jerry Mallon. He's the one who was always in the day room with Amelia.
Oh, that's right. Grace, when the mass was over, he goes to the coffin, and he goes like this.
No.
Yes.
Really?
Really?
Oh, for pity's sakes.
Well, he did. Nobody could believe it.
And so what if he did?
So what? He was in love with her. That's so what? Don't you think so, Grace?
Well, I guess he had to be if he did that.
And can you imagine? Can you imagine if he loved her and never could tell her because she was so beautiful and he was so shy, and now he never can because their love is forever thwarted and he can never tell her he loves her ever again.
Poor Amelia.
Poor Amelia.
Poor kid.
Family took it awful bad, Grace. Elvina, Kinta, everyone, even her father, crying so bad, never did see a grown man cry like that before, bawling like a baby. And you know why, too?
It's their daughter that died. What she died from.
Irene, don't spread stories.
It is a story. Elvina told us. Ain't no reason Grace shouldn't know. Know what? Know what? Amelia?
Ain't it awful? Elvina said her father was fit to be tied, too. 6 girls and ain't any of them ever going to a dance again.
Oh, because Amelia Upton died from syphilis. Shh. Ain't my fault if that's what she died from. Well, you don't know that for sure.
It's on the death certificate.
Anemia and complications from syphilis. But Amelia was ever so nice. Guess she got her own more than we knew. Well, maybe it's wrong. Maybe the doctor got it wrong. Come on. It's true. Doctor's pretty wrong sometimes.
That's true. Doctor's wrong about Aunt Ivy.
What's Mama got to do with it?
Don't you remember? Up until the day she died, the doctor said, get a good night's rest, drink a cup of tea, and you'll be fine. 2 days later, we were taking her to Rosendale Cemetery.
Girls! Girls! The gentlemen are here to make an announcement.
Thank you, Mrs. McNeil. Girls, we're here to put a few rumors to rest.
Want to explain some changes, yeah?
Yes, as some of you may have heard, Dr. Von Sashaki has decided to step down. He wanted to take this
To
opportunity.
make a goodbye. When Mr. Reader has kindly consented. Some of you I have known since you were little girls. Coming here from the poor, working so hard, day after day at events. 200, 300, some of you $500 a day. So excited to be part of our work here. That's company I started in my own kitchen, mixing up sea paint. I knew I found something miraculous to make life better, easier, and now what do I read? More and more uses are there for the radium. More than I dreamed possible.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yes, thank you, Doctor. The doctor is a very busy man and he must be on his way. So let's wish him the best of luck in his future endeavors.
It's all happened.
Very well then, girls.
And let us good luck wish you also, Mr. Reader, to the day he steps on as your new company president. Our congratulations to you.
Thank you.
When Mr. Reader came here 4 years ago, I saw him a man of great enterprise and great ambition. Little did I guess the direction your ambition would take. But one of these things that makes this country great is the opportunity it presents a young man and his friends.
And so, girls,
And so, ladies, let us wish Mr. Reader the very best in the new direction we intend to
Now,
come
Doctor.
New direction?
will be slow down the diet when the business moving into the medical market. So there'll be lots of changes, yeah?
well, what the doctor is referring to, some of our larger customers are setting up their own dial band studios.
Which means us work for our girls here.
In the short run, yes. However, the Waterbury Clock Company in Connecticut needs help setting up a new studio. We were intending to make an announcement next week, but we'll make it now. Mrs. McNeil.
Yes, we were asking some of you girls to go on up there.
The work is supervisory in nature, which means more pay. You had some girls in mind?
Louise Conlon was one, Sarah Deutsch, Lane McCarthy, and Catherine Shaw. I have the entire list downstairs. Was it today?
Yes. As we're all on the clock, let's get back to work.
Thank you, ladies. My best wishes to you.
How's back to work with you girls?
Are you going to do it, Catherine? Are you going to take the job?
Would you, Grace? Would you go to Connecticut?
Oh, I don't know. That's awful far from home. Tell me what have a fit.
But wouldn't it be fun, Grace? Irene, wouldn't it be fun?
Irene? Honey, are you all right?
Yeah.
Why
you're young, Tom. But wait till you and Grace compute my age in the house with your kids underfoot. You'll thank God for every penny put by.
We got money to put by.
How much?
Enough to get married.
It doesn't take much to get married on. You got enough to stay married on?
You let us get married and we'll find out.
You still eating, Tommy?
It's good.
You're gonna get fat.
Gotta keep up with strength. Works hard for the money.
Don't starve, Mom.
I didn't say nothing. It's your father who put the roof over it.
He didn't hit the roof.
You should have seen the man's face, Tom, when he heard Grace wasn't working no more. Most girls would give their eye teeth working at a place like that. Easy work, good pay, nice looking fellas around the plant.
Oh, you didn't tell me about them, Grace.
Well, there wasn't that many of them, hardly single to mention.
And she leaves it all behind, for reasons unknown. I'm tired up there, she says. I tried at a paycheck, I says. Who needs a paycheck, she says. I got me a boyfriend to take me out Saturdays.
She said that.
Oh, you know I didn't. And for your information, I got a job. I started at the bank on Monday.
Oh yeah, the pay. He wants to pay.
Enough.
Enough. Always enough. You know what that means, Tom? You don't come close to what it pays up at the Radium plant.
It's office work.
Office work? I guess you'll be spending more money on clothes then.
Boy, she's really steamed at you.
I don't see what difference it makes so long as I'm working somewhere.
Don't make no difference to me. I just thought you liked it up there.
Sure, I liked it. I worked there 4 years.
So, I've been delivering mail almost 8 years. And I plan to keep delivering mail for another 20 or 30 years. I'm lucky. Nothing like a good steady pension and a good work day to keep asleep at night.
I don't have a pension and I sleep just fine.
I bet you do. So how come did you quit, Grace?
Lots of girls are quitting. Work is slow. Besides, since I read one, it's just not as much fun. And wouldn't you rather have a girlfriend who works at the bank?
Not as much as I like a wife who doesn't work anymore.
Close your eyes. I got a surprise for you.
Oh, you want me to pull the shades?
Not that kind of surprise. Close your eyes. Now look,
Wallpaper.
for the baby's room.
Baby's room? You won't kiss me and you're already talking about babies?
Well, there's gonna be babies eventually, Tommy.
Yeah, sure. But you know, Grace, most girls, they get married before they decorate the nursery.
Plan ahead for once. Pick one.
They're both the same.
No, they're not. This one has big flowers and this one has little flowers. So pick one.
Is this some kind of test?
No, it's just wallpaper.
It is some kind of test.
Just pick one, Tommy.
Yeah, that
Really?
one. Yup.
Which one do you like, though?
They're both nice.
This one is pretty, don't you think?
That one then.
I want you to like it, too.
If you like it, I'll like it. Wallpaper's wallpaper.
No, it isn't. You gotta pick something you can stand to look at for 20 years.
Same way you pick a woman.
Keep it up, smart girls. You won't never get it.
Alright, this one. This one hands down.
I like it, too. A nice neutral yellow goes with either a boy or a girl. And until the baby comes, you can use the room for other things.
Yeah? Like what?
Like a painting studio, maybe?
A painting studio, maybe. Didn't you get enough painting at work?
Well, not the kind I wanted to. Tommy, when I was in school, we used to do watercolors, and ever since I went to work, I didn't have no time with Pokemon, watching the kids. Once we're married, I just want a little time with myself. So I can do watercolors, or oils maybe. I can do portraits in oil. I can paint a picture if you like.
Why not? Paint a big picture of me. We'll paint it in the outhouse. All our friends will come around just to use the can so they can look at it.
Talk sometimes.
Grace, if you want to paint pictures, I ain't gonna stop you.
You say that now. But once we're married, you'll change your tune.
Sure, I'll be listening to Dixie.
Wait till you come home one night. All wore out. Some Christmas maybe, when every customer on your routes had 3 times the mail. And maybe some dog took after you. And some little old lady kept you waiting on her stoop telling you all about her grandchildren. And you wouldn't have the heart to tell her you couldn't stay and talk. I know you would. So you come home, all cranky and late besides, hungry, wanting your dinner. And there I am with my easel set up in the kitchen, my drop cloth on the floor, and my paints all over the table. And your dinner nowhere in sight.
What would you say then?
Better be a picture of me or paying.
I know what you'd say. Where's my dinner? That's what you'd say. Where's my dinner?
Yeah, sure, it's still mine to pay him. Just want to look at it on a full stomach, that's all. So how'd I do? Did I pick the right wallpaper?
I don't know. Maybe I'll go look at stripes.
Stripes, polka dots, I don't care. Let's just get married, Grace. You're plenty old enough. Tell your mom we ain't waiting no more. We'll just run off.
Tommy, you're not running off. We're going to do it right. A nice church wedding with flowers and music. And then a week at the seashore, just us. And then we can set up in our own place. You'll see. It'll be worth the wait.
Mouth still hurt yet?
Yeah, the dentist says he wants to pull another tooth from the back.
Well, what's a tooth?
Hazel Cruiser. Any connection to the others?
Only by virtue of employment.
Except she's got a good lawyer.
Knows how to write a good letter anyway, that lawyer.
And she no longer works here?
Left 6 months ago.
That makes 4 now.
3.
4 if you count the laundry girl.
I wouldn't include her.
She worked here.
She also worked in laundry places. And what she died from, you couldn't pick up here. At least I don't think you can.
Well, that's not funny, Charlie. Besides, it's just I don't know.
Usually there's something to the I don't talk when it comes to girls like that.
From a large family, wasn't she?
Italians. The conditions they live in, 10, 12 people in 3 rooms. It's a wonder they don't all die of one infection or another.
3 then. And how many dead?
Only Miss Maja, but I haven't gotten in touch with her people yet.
I wouldn't worry about them. The statute of limitations is 2 years. But this cruiser girl's a different story. She's in a position to make some real trouble now.
And all the time I've been here, no one as much as slipped on the floor. Now we have this to deal with.
We're talking about 4 girls out of how many hundreds that we've employed.
6, maybe 700.
And some of them were sick when they got here. One girl you hired was a complete cripple. Couldn't even climb the stairs to the studio. Her father carried her up every morning.
It didn't make a difference how she got up the stairs, Charlie. She was a fast worker and a sweet girl.
But she was in poor health.
But she needed the work.
Arthur, Charlie.
And not just for the money, Charlie, to have a purpose. That's what work does. It gives us a purpose. I don't see any reason why we should stop hiring girls like that.
When they get sick and try to blame us for it, you might want to reconsider that policy.
Let's just see what Dr. Drinker has to say.
Dr. Drinker?
Some professor from the Harvard School of Industrial Hygiene.
He chairs the department. He's agreed to take a look at our operations.
Don't you think we're jumping the gun a bit hiring him?
We've had 6 girls quit this week, Charlie. McNeil tells me there could be more.
Girls come and go all the time.
Well, it's different, though. These girls are terrified. We have to do something to calm them.
Letting Drinker examine them. Sounds like a recipe for mass hysteria.
We'll tell them it's a routine physical. Edward,
Companies give physicals all the time.
the Drinker will start next month.
In the meantime, I recommend we make an offer to Miss Cruiser.
Settle.
There's no proof her problems are connected to us.
If she sues, believe me, you won't like the publicity it brings. And neither will your investors.
Think this will affect the stock offering.
Don't you?
1, we'll open at 30 and we'll close at 10.
Or not open at all.
But if we gave her something, that would keep her quiet.
It would be a condition of the settlement.
Maybe we better do it.
Suppose some lawyer finds these girls and tricks them into making suits. Then what? We reward him for his larceny?
Unless Miss Cruiser genuinely believes she got sick here.
It could be like Charlie said. She comes from a poor immigrant family. Not well educated, not a lot of resources.
A few $100s would be a great deal to a girl like that.
Certainly. Pay a few doctor bills, buy some medicine. From the sound of that letter, she doesn't have that long to live anyway.
So it would be a gesture of decency.
Exactly.
All right, well, let's should be off. March 24, 1924. Jack Yowick here for the Newark Ledger.
Nancy J. Harlan for the graphic.
Could radium water pose a cure for crippling arthritis? Scientific study suggests a connection.
Dateline, Orange, New Jersey. Radium water products offer a miracle cure for crippling arthritis.
Some patients reported a significant abatement in their symptoms.
Mrs. Jerry Michaels of the Bronx tells how radium water transformed her life. My pain got so bad, I could hardly bend over.
While others reported only mild relief.
This poor gray woman can't even bend down to kiss the little ones goodnight. And I got 3. Let me tell you, they're a handful.
Dr. Harrison Martin, Chief Medical Examiner for Essex County, gives commentary on the study.
Preliminary at best.
Your recommendations, Dr. Martin.
I advise further study. Further study.
Then Mrs. Michaels tried Radium.
They said it would help my rheumatism, so I drank a bottle a day for a month. Wasn't cheap, but I was desperate.
The test tube was questionably small.
Well,
First off, it felt like I'd been struck by a bolt of lightning. It was that powerful. Now I drink a bottle a week just to maintain my health. I hang the laundry, and I scrub kitchen floor, and I do the things I've always done.
Dr. William J. A. Bailey of Orange, inventor of Radium, reports a strong demand for its product.
Dr. William Bailey of Orange announced the sales of Radford exceed 100,000 cases worldwide.
Radioactivity is one of the most remarkable agents of medical science. I drink Radford myself. I vouch for its power.
A bottle a day?
At $1 a bottle.
Worth every penny.
Yes, indeed. I myself am a spiritual lethargy, for it has given the amazing, vitalizing qualities of radium water. Now look at me. I'm nearly 40 years old, have the energy of a man in his 20s.
Rather look like a man in his 20s.
Well, thanks.
A testament to atomic's potency.
Or to the seller's creativity?
Radithor, it's perpetual sunshine.
And perpetual money machine for its inventor.
Is there no one to what science can do?
Maybe we should have made an appointment. Don't need no appointment.
Well, it's a busy place, Catherine. If you don't have an appointment, maybe you should make one.
I shouldn't need an appointment for this.
I'm sorry, I didn't find anything on the shop.
No, it's under Rudolph.
Rudolph,
Irene Rudolph. The girl I'm asking about?
she filed a complaint?
No, the dentist did.
The dentist.
Dr. Neff, Irene's dentist. He said she might have flossy job, and he was going to complain to the health department about it. When I asked him, he said he hadn't heard nothing. It's been more than 6 months now.
Bossy jaw, you say?
Yes.
Catherine, it could have been like the doctor said, a blood infection.
Yeah, but what gave it to her? That's the thing. Where did it come from?
From dirt. Get infections from dirt.
From dirt? Her face puffed up like a pumpkin. Her jaw rotted so bad. You think you get something like that from a little dirt? You get it from phosphorus. They're telling everyone it's radium in that paint. It's really phosphorus that makes it glow.
Well, honestly, Catherine, you can't really believe that.
You saw her, Grace.
Catherine, if it was like you to say, they'd never let you work up there in the first place.
Sure, maybe shut the place down.
Shut it down? Who? Who's gonna shut it down?
I don't know. The county?
Honestly, Grace, you're such a ninny.
Hey,
How are they gonna shut it down if they don't know about it? Ever think of that?
now come
It's
on.
all right, Tommy.
She's got no business talking to you that way.
She's just upset.
Upset she's gone round the bend. She probably thinks you're dumping arsenic into drinking water. Takes still be that they're kidnapping babies and using them to stoke the furnace.
You laugh now, but you won't be laughing so hard when you coming in here 6 months from now asking us to Grace.
Catherine, it's just a toothache.
Yeah, that's how it should have priority. Just a toothache. You wait, Grace. You wait. Your jaw will hurt so bad, you'll be able to open your mouth.
Stop
You'll be
it,
so
Catherine.
weak, you'll be stand up. So sick, you'll be able to sleep. And your face so swollen, you'll be able to stand the sight of your
I said stop it! Grace is fine. Right, Gracie?
Irene Rudolph?
Yes.
She works at the radium plant?
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing.
Huh?
The company is in full compliance with all state health and labor
Let me
regulations.
see that.
Miss, really?
Who's Miss Young?
That's the health officer, miss.
Paint is harmless compound of radium and zinc.
As I was saying, the analysis shows there's no phosphorus anywhere in the paint. There's no phosphorus anywhere in the plant. There. You see, Catherine? Miss Young toured the plant herself and found nothing amiss. I'm sorry.
Well, guess we can get some lunch then.
I'm gonna file another complaint.
You already did an investigation.
I want to file another complaint.
Catherine. These folks, they're all so busy here.
I want to file another complaint.
I just don't see what good it's going to do, Catherine, to make such a fuss this way.
Grace, 3 surgeries, and they wanted to cut her again. She finally said no. She knew what was left of her jaw rotted so bad. The smell was terrible. And the worst of it is, Grace, I couldn't look at her. Irene was so afraid of being alone, but I left her alone. When she died, it was the middle of the night, and no one was with her.
I'm sorry. Can we have another form? My friend would like to file another complaint.
Another complaint? Is the girl still sick?
No, she died.
Wait right here. Harriet! Harriet, you come down from that tree at once!
I'm waiting for Papa.
Fine. When he comes home, I'll send him up after you.
There he is. Papa! Papa!
Harriet, get down from that tree.
Harriet, come down at once!
Papa, I can see clear to the church.
Do you see your grandfather?
No, but I can see the schoolhouse.
You think this is funny?
She's enjoying herself.
Harriet!
Tell you what, if she has no one to shout to, she won't shout.
They can hear her all over the neighborhood.
Can they?
When she comes down, I want you to speak to her.
She's 9 years old, Diane.
I'm trying to raise a daughter, not a son.
Trust me, time is on your side. In another year or two, she'll lose all interest in trees. Develop a fascination with boys.
That's supposed to scare me.
When that day comes, she'll be frantic, because she no longer wants to climb trees.
What's this?
Something to give you vitality.
You think I need vitality?
That's what it says on the bottle.
Is it pure?
We're a supply. Do you want to try it?
If it'll give me vitality, how can I refuse? Your father came by to see me today.
Another hard luck case?
4 children at home, all under the age of 6.
Let me guess. Mother in the hospital with cancer.
Yes,
Husband's been laid off from the brick house.
yes.
For no fault of his own.
How did you know?
Dad was around to see me yesterday. You never know, you know. Just have ordinary ambitions. You have to have a mission plan.
And you do?
No, I have a business plan.
Can't see much help this man if you could.
I would if I could, but I can't give him a job that doesn't exist.
What about Dan Lehman?
In the laboratory,
Maybe he can use some help.
he needs trained technicians, not a bricklayer. Besides, would you want to have a social club or something like this?
You mean the Women's Club Civics Committee?
Right.
The club takes interest in such cases. We're not an employment service either, which is why I thought you could help him.
Well, you do love being married to the company president.
It has its advantages.
Do you ever think of trading it in?
Do you?
I got my shoe shine today. I sat there and I watched the boy work and I thought to myself, this is quite an enterprise. The work walks in, the work walks out. No inventory, no warehouse, and no stock price.
And you traded all that for your own shoe shine stand.
Fewer headaches that way.
So you're one of those movement. What is it this time? It can't be the market. It went up today.
Now you're reading the financial pages?
I have to entertain myself somehow. So what happened today? You're acting strange.
Sorry.
You can tell me, you know.
There's nothing to tell, really. This is going to be our best year ever.
So it's the prospect of success that you find so disheartening?
I'll just get my check.
What for?
The bricklayer.
Artie, he needs a job, not charity. What is it your father says? A working man needs work. It
Wears on his soul not to work. If it's a matter of his soul, that's different. I'll talk to him.
Artie,
But I'm making no promises, Diane.
no promises.
For your health.
How long have you had this drainage?
About a week or so, Dr. Neff. It hurts something awful.
Anything else bothering you?
My back hurts some too.
You're back now. You've seen your regular doctor.
He says it's just nerves.
Nerves?
About my wedding and all.
This ain't no case of nerves. Hope you told him that.
Well, what do you think?
Think you better schedule that surgery.
Can't we put it off a little bit until after my wedding?
You don't have that surgery. You won't have no wedding. Miss Fryer, I want you to listen to me. That's the black pus oozing out of your gums. It's the bone itself.
That's impossible. It can't be as bad as all that.
Put off the surgery and you will develop a septic condition. It could be fatal.
Everything I have saved is for my wedding.
Well, I've got a suggestion for you. Go to the Radium plant and explain your situation.
Go to the company.
Once they see what kind of shape you're in, they gotta feel obligated to help you out.
You think they do that?
They got a moral obligation.
Well, I guess so.
Look, if you want, I'll write this important. I'll go get some paper now.
To Mr. Arthur Reeder, U.S. Radium Corporation, from Cecil Drinker, Harvard University, enclosed this our report.
Fine.
We believe trouble in your plant is due to the radium. The blood changes in your employees can be explained on no other grounds. Photographic films secured by employees show heavy fogging, and we suspect high levels of gamma radiation throughout the plant. We realize no proof can be offered at present, but in the view of the material and literature and the facts disclosed by our investigation, we recommend immediate and drastic remedial action.
He has to be wrong. Charlie! This can't be right. Charlie, get in here! Charlie, he has to be wrong.
We must have overlooked something.
If we're suffering from some new ailment caused by radium, it should occur generally throughout the entire plant.
One would expect.
There's several hundred grams circulating through the entire property at all times. So 100 in the crystallizers, so 100 in the ore.
The whole backyard is filled with
It's
tailings.
present across the entire property.
Then perhaps it's some combination of the radium with the zinc.
Or something peculiar to our plant alone.
Some kind of bacteria in the brushes.
It just can't be the radium, Charlie. There's dozens of application plants across the country. No one has reported anything like this.
The Department of Labor wants to see this.
Where?
How do we answer them? This tears us apart. What are we going to do?
They want to see a report? Give them this.
One page?
The most important page.
Drinker will never stand for this.
Drinker works for us. This is a proprietary report. We do what we want with our business.
But the Department of
We just
Labor,
need a little
Arthur,
time,
they
Charlie.
could shut us down for
Charlie,
this.
these scientists and government men have no idea how to run a business. I can't tell you how many times I walk into Von Sashaki's office and he turned a deaf ear to me. But Charlie, look. Look at what we've shown them. The single largest radium supplier on the planet. I can't stand idly by while they drag our good names through the mud. Trust me, Charlie.
Dr. Flynn, it's awful nice of you to come all the way to see me.
Not at all, my dear. Not at all.
I told the surgeon we could stop the biceps, so he gave me the results of my blood work.
Excellent.
So,
I must say, Miss Squire, your blood looks better than mine.
it does?
That's what happens when one doesn't take care of himself. Now tell me, what else is ailing?
Well, my feet and my back mostly. I've had to wear a brace for a while.
So I see. This happened before you left the company or after?
After. Dr. Neff said that this all has to do with the radium plant. I know another girl who worked there who died from it. Irene, you know?
Oh yes, terrible thing. Vincent's angina.
What's that?
That's an ulcerative condition of the mouth.
From the radium?
No. A rare and unfortunate result of poor dental care. So let this be a lesson to you. Always brush your teeth.
Read something else in the paper about this, about other girls who got sick. One girl I worked with for a while, she's in the hospital in New York, and the doctors don't know what to do with her. They've never seen anything like it.
Miss Fryer, don't tell me you paid any attention to those stories. Those stories are not scientific. Reporters write to sell, not to educate. The scientist is concerned with truth. He undertakes years of painstaking study to arrive at a conclusion that most people can't even hope to comprehend. What you would do best is to listen to science. Ignore the nonsense that is printed in the newspapers. As I can tell you right now, radium has nothing to do with what's in our.
It doesn't?
Not in the least.
But Dr. Neff said...
Dr. Neff is a dentist, not a physician. What you have is a vitamin deficiency. You must eat more fresh food.
It's hard to do in the winter.
Raw cabbage in particular. Look at it if you must. We get it twice a week, at a minimum. Oh no, Miss Fire. I'm a scientist. I take a purely scientific interest in the situation. By letting me examine you, you are furthering my studies. I thank you.
All right, Dr. Flynn.
Call me anytime, day or night.
Thanks.
Happy to be of service.
Dr. Bernard Flynn, PhD, Physiology, Columbia University. PhD. That's not a real doctor.
I find things, Mr. Reader.
You see, half the world used work with the company. Word I hear is working for us.
An objective evaluation, I trust.
The source of my funding has no bearing on my research.
I let that fella examine me.
I never examined her, per se. It was not a medical examination, per se.
Well, you were able to offer her some useful advice.
I did my best for her.
Every girl I see is the same thing. Nothing wrong with them.
Your blood is better than mine, he said.
How are you coming with the rest of the report?
The animal studies I conducted revealed no adverse effects from the radium. As you expected, it is one of personal hygiene only.
I can't believe someone would do something like that to you. Straight out lie to you like that.
Nothing surprises me.
It's just like you said, Pepper, that those people will say anything, they'll do anything.
Except the right thing.
Well, we're going to make him, Catherine. We're going to make sure that somebody hears about this.
I'm grateful, Dr. Flynn. I'm really glad to hear the girl you examined is doing so much better.
I never examined her. I merely consulted with her.
So she is doing much better, right?
From what I could see, she's on the road to recovery.
Excellent.
Here's my statement of fees and expenses.
I'll have Mr. Lee draw you a check.
And so I leave you now with this one thought, ladies and gentlemen. We do not have to accept injustice. Instead, we can use our powers as consumers to influence the practices of those who wish to profit from our patronage. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Wiley. And thanks to the New Jersey Consumers League for another job well done. This concludes our program for the evening. We'll have no time for questions, but we hope you'll join us next door for light refreshments.
Want anything?
Well, my throat's a little dry.
Can I help you, miss?
Well, I'm here to see Miss Wiley.
You're not a member of the Women's Club.
No, ma'am.
Are you a guest of a member?
Well, no, ma'am, but
Then
Miss
I'm
Wiley.
sure Miss Wiley would be happy to see you during her regular business hours.
I'm not leaving until I see Miss Wiley.
It's all right, Miss Middleton. It's fine. You must be Miss Fryer.
Yes, ma'am. Miss Young at the health department told me I should see you. I know I should have stopped by your office, but I missed a lot of work lately, and I didn't want to miss no more.
No need to apologize. I've been meaning to call on you myself.
Well, me and Catherine, we wrote to the company, but we never did hear nothing back. So then we went to see a couple lawyers, but they all said that they couldn't do nothing since it's been so long since we left the company. Something about how the law won't allow it.
The statute of limitations.
Right. And one lawyer, he said he tried to sue you anyhow, only he wants $1,000 up front. Everything I saved for my wedding, I already spent on doctors and dentist bills, and I still don't know what's wrong exactly. And Tommy, that's my fella, he says he don't care, he wants to get married anyhow. And I only wonder, what good would I do him like this? Miss Wiley, if I could only get some compensation, then I could settle my debts and maybe I wouldn't feel like I was strapping Tom with such a burden. I'm awful sorry to rattle on at you about such things. I'm just so tired of being pushed around.
I don't blame you.
Miss Young at the health department, she said that consumers league had, what did she say, clout?
I'd like to think so. We've certainly had our share of success.
So could you help us then?
Tell me, Miss Fryer, just how far would you be willing to go with this?
Ma'am?
Suppose I do find a lawyer who would take your case on a contingency. That means you'd only have to pay him if you won. Would you be willing to sue?
Well, I want my compensation.
Of course you do. Now, suppose the company comes to you and says, here's some money for you, Miss Fryer. Only you're to tell no one of our agreement, and you can't say how you got sick.
Keep it quiet, you mean?
Yes.
Well, that don't seem right.
It isn't right, but that's what they'll do. They'll try and buy your silence. Is it for sale, Miss Fryer?
No. No, ma'am, it isn't.
Good.
So can you help us?
I think I could help you if you're willing to take some chances.
Chances?
Miss Fryer, we would have to put aside your own need just for the moment. We could put a stop to that company. We can stop them dead in their tracks.
What do I have to do?
We start by putting you on page 1.
Page 1. You want him to talk to the newspaper?
Not just one newspaper, but many newspapers.
Now, is that really necessary? All he wants for Grace to get her...
Let her finish.
I understand your concerns, but this company has already shown it's willing to go to extremes to protect itself. No, I'm afraid the only way we can hit them where it matters most is in their public image. When every newspaper in America tells your story, how you were sorely treated and how you suffered, how the company denied all responsibility. Believe me, Miss Fryer, when that happens, Arthur Reeder will come to the table with his hat in his hands.
All right, Miss Wiley.
I know this could be frightening.
Well, that's all right. Right now I'm more angry than I am scared.
That's good. You hang on to that anger, Miss Fryer. You're going to need it. Only be sure no one else sees it.
Ma'am?
Public sympathy. That's our strongest weapon. But the public doesn't have much sympathy for an angry woman.
December 4th, 1927. Jack Yowick here for the Newark Legend.
Nancy June Harlan for the graphic,
On the strange case of the Radium,
who claim they were poisoned at the hands of their employer.
and now seek their day in court.
$250,000. That's the price tag on their suffering.
$250,000?
Ask me, it's all a sham. What do you mean? Those girls are very sick. Sick of work, I'm sure.
Doctors say the radio girls have only a year to live.
Only 1 year to live and 250 grand to spend. What would you do with that kind of money?
What would you do to ease your last suffering days on Earth? What would you do with $250,000?
I'd buy a wardrobe like I really castles. I'd give it all to charity. Then I'd travel the world, first class with all my friends. Well, I'd play the stock market.
I'd buy my weight a fur coat and a diamond, a size New Hampshire.
I'd use it to pay my medical bills and pay off the second mortgage on my house. The one my father took out to pay for my last operation.
Pretty Grace Fryer sits at home,
Suffering greatly through this entire ordeal.
struggling valiantly to keep up her flagging spirits.
For the sake of her family and her friends.
It hurts to smile. But I try to smile. I know that if I don't smile, I'll go crazy.
Tell us, Miss Fryer, how does it feel knowing you have such little time left?
Well, I try not to think about it.
But it must get to you sometimes.
Knowing what you've been through. And the company's getting fat off your labor.
All I have to say about it is...
No comment.
Don't you just want to punch somebody?
Oh no, that won't do no good. I'd rather just think about how it's gonna be. When justice prevails, then I can do something nice for the folks. And send them on a trip maybe? They never did have no honeymoon.
What a fine example of womanhood. We can only aspire to bear our cross as nobly as this young lady.
Mr. Barry, I must object to these histrionics.
I had nothing to do with that, Mr. Markley.
I've been in this game a long time, Mr. Barry. When I see a story like this move over the wires, I'm not so naive to believe the plaintiff's attorney had nothing to do with it.
So what's your proposal?
$1,500 for each girl.
$1,500.
That's not even a year's wages.
We think it's very generous considering your case won't survive the statute of limitations.
This is a case in equity, sir. The Chancery Court will come to a different conclusion.
The Chancery Court can't rewrite law, and the law is clear. 2 years from the date of injury. Your clients are out of time.
2 years from the cause of injury is discovered.
Very creative, Mr. Barry. Very clever. I must admire your imagination, but you're a long way from convincing a judge.
And in the meantime, Mr. Markley, the press will continue to take a great interest in this story and the company's complete indifference to its workers.
No doubt it'll prove great press for the Consumers League, and you accuse us of exploiting these girls.
You're the one hiding behind the statute of limitations.
Hiding, Miss Wiley?
You know very well the law never anticipated a case like this. These girls were dying years before anyone knew the cause.
Before anyone knew. Does that include the U.S. Radium Corporation, Miss Wiley? When, or should I say if this case goes to trial, I only hope that's your opening argument, Mr. Barry. You'll have made our defense. See you at the hearing.
The arrogance of that man.
Tell me again the purpose of these articles, Miss Wiley.
Public sympathy, Mr. Barry. That's the engine of the party.
You're antagonizing the company.
And the strategy is working.
What about the girls? Tweeted a dozen different newspapers that they have so little time to live.
Mr. Barry, surely you could see. The U.S. Radium Corporation cares nothing for the girls it is poisoned. But the average housewife in Orange cares very deeply. These women shop, and they buy watches. Markley can be as smug as he likes, but the Consumers League campaign will lead to only one outcome, and he knows it. That's why he was here today.
I don't need to be right, Miss Wiley.
Public sympathy, Mr. Barry. Wait and see.
Dear Miss Shaw, I read your sad story in the Boston Globe, and I'm so sorry for your plight. It seems in this time of rapid advancement, the well-being of the average worker is overlooked. But I would like to share with you girls the key to my own good health. It's called Christian Science.
Dear Miss Briner, I read a remarkable situation in Atlanta Constitution, and I'm prepared to offer you a solution. Venison, a wonder tonic made from all natural ingredients. Venison will restore your health and vitality. We're prepared to offer you girls a lifetime supply of Venison in exchange to use your pictures in our advertisements.
Dear girl, I read about you in the Village Gazette. I heard Clement Kettle up here, you're very fine by myself. I've always longed for a companion, willing to offer you a home in your final hours. Don't you deserve a few fleeting hours of happiness? Sincerely, your admirer, Leonard F. Watkins. P.S. Enclosed my picture.
Look at this, Captain. This man actually sent a picture. You all right, Catherine? Bleeding again. Shall I get the nurse? It didn't before. It'll stop. Maybe we should go. No, don't go. Well, don't you need your sleep? Sleep? Who needs sleep? Well, you'll sleep tomorrow. Yeah. Might not wake up. Of course you'll wake up. Not that don't go so well. My mother's cousin went to the hospital for her appendix, and she didn't come home again.
Well, you just can't think of it that way, Catherine, that's all. Look at all this mail, Catherine. Miss Wiley said people would be on our side, and she sure was right. This one's all the way from California.
What if we don't win?
Of course we'll win.
What if we don't? My father will lose his house. We'll be on the street. You'll be on the street, too. Your father must owe thousands.
Catherine,
You and Tom? You'll never get married. How can you stand it, Grace? How can Tom stand it? We'll never hear him complain.
as soon as the judge hears our testimony, he's gonna rule for us. All he's gotta do is take one look at us, and it'll be over in a day.
Think so?
Sure. Once he sees the kind of shape we're in, we'd be awful hard to ignore, don't you think?
That'll be something in a moment. See the look on Mr. Reader's face when we get on that stand?
Now, I want to read some more letters.
They didn't have any vanilla, so I got some chocolate.
Took you long enough.
Don't get on me. I had 6 people stop me on the way up here. All from reporters, all of them asking after you.
Waiting for me to die.
No one's waiting for you to die.
It's true. One of them called my mother asked him if I had died. She told him no. He sounded almost disappointed.
Well, try to eat some of this. It'll help you feel better. Evening, ladies. How about pictures?
For the love of Mike, what are you doing?
We need to get some pictures for the on the girls.
Exclusive? What are you talking about?
$5,000, that's what. What do you say, Grace? Think you could use $5,000?
I don't understand.
Perhaps you're familiar with the Bernard McFadden.
Who that? A healer?
Herbalist, Mr. Kreider, herbalist. Bernard McFadden's patented herbal substance is just a thing to get these girls back up on their feet. And the graphic is willing to pay for it rights to the story. See for yourself.
You're willing to pay us to go see Bernard McFadden?
Easy money, huh?
Let me see that.
They're serious, Grace.
The graphic has always done the business on the up and up.
I don't know.
Grace, what does your father do on the house?
Well, I'm not sure exactly.
And the last hospital bill? $1,200 at least.
Least.
Maybe we should think about this.
And all we do is talk. This herbalist fellow?
We'll have to get our money's worth. Regular series of features, with pictures, following the course of your treatment and depending on how it goes.
And then you print what you want.
You can have color. Everyone has color.
They don't sound so bad.
Maybe we should talk to Miss Wiley about this?
Miss Wiley, what's it to her? You're the one with bills to pay.
It wouldn't be right to do something like this without talking to Miss Wiley about it.
You're a big girl, Grace. Can't you make your own decisions?
Of course I can make my own decisions.
Well, you take it if it came from the company.
The company owes us a lot more than that.
If you ever see it.
Maybe we should do it.
It just don't feel right.
Grace, you're going to talk to those reporters anyhow. Why not get something out of it?
He's right, you know. First time you put on your story, bam! Sold on every copy of your newsstand. Everybody can sympathize with like some poor sick girl facing certain death with no fulfillment in motherhood.
I'd like you to go now. My friend is tired and she needs her rest.
Grace, at least think about it.
Sure, think about it. I understand. You girls are worried about what people will say. But why keep your hands between everybody else up to their elbows then?
Ladies and gentlemen, I've treated a number of the girls who claimed they got sick from working here. One of them, the girl's jaw had rotted so bad, I removed it just by lifting the bone out of her mouth, as you can see.
That's all right, Dr. Knapp. You can put that away.
Perhaps you'd rather look at it on the x-ray. This was an expensive case to treat, and I never did get no compensation. The girl died. Her family never paid.
We sympathize, Dr. Knapp. We really do. What does this have to do with us?
Here it is straight. There's going to be a lot more girls coming out and saying they got sick here. So maybe we can do business. I scratch your back, you scratch mine. That sort of thing.
I'm not following.
Suppose you was to give me a list of the girls who worked here. I'd see to it there weren't no more lawsuits.
You can cure them?
Oh, I couldn't put out a cure, no. What I'm saying is I scratch your back, you scratch mine.
How so, Dr. Nutt?
I would examine them for radium necrosis. And then I would give a favorable diagnosis for you. Furiaceae or something. Quite a few cases will just die a natural death anyway. And the rest, we can put off until the statute of limitations kicks in when it's too late to sue.
You'll persuade them they haven't got a case against the company.
Exactly. And if it did come to court, I could testify that it was some other problem. And it would be strong testimony coming from the dentist who treated them.
And what makes you so sure they'll come to you?
Or they'll come to me quick if I don't charge them nothing.
Because we'd be paying.
Exactly right. We understand each other, Mr. Ryu.
What exactly are you asking for, Dr. Knapp?
I need $10,000 for my trouble so far, plus $2 for every visit, plus expenses for x-rays, etc. I'm suggesting a gentleman's agreement here. Better off if it's not right.
No.
All right, we'll put it in
I'm not
writing.
going to do anything like that, Dr. Knapp. Your proposal is immoral. You won't have anything to do with it.
Immoral, you say? You're a fine one to be talking about morals. When you've got your own hired gun ready to
Those are
testify.
expert witnesses.
Expert witnesses? Hey, Lactus is more like it. Well, none of them's what's the dirt I got. If you're smart, you'll play ball. Believe me, there are plenty of other people who are interested in the information. You're threatening me. It's just a business proposition, Mr. Ricker. Just looking after my interests. Same way you look after yours.
Or I can see that to the door.
All right. You don't want to play ball? Fine. But believe me, it won't be me holding the short end of the stick when all of this shakes out.
I want you all to make statements of what happened this morning. Then send them to the State Dental Society. Then that will see who's playing ball and who isn't.
An excellent idea.
I don't know. I don't think we should be so quick to dismiss this proposal.
Why not?
We're in a very bad situation here, Mr. Reader.
The That's right. Mr. Lee says you're having trouble getting girls to work here.
Yes, and we've lost contracts because of it.
And it's only going to get worse.
Papers are full of stories about those girls.
Making them out to be saints.
And what defense have we put out?
Other than we'll try our case in court.
And in the court of public opinion, we've already lost.
Perhaps we should reconsider. I mean, it certainly wouldn't hurt to have testimony from a dentist who treated those girls.
That could be helpful to us. We should retain him
Is what, an extortionist?
as an expert.
Like Dr. Flynn.
Dr. Flynn is a professor from Columbia University. Next to neighbor of a dentist.
But Dr. Flynn treated those girls, didn't he?
He consulted with them.
He dispensed medical advice, Doctor.
It wasn't medical advice, it was an expert's opinion, a scientific opinion.
How about this? You retain that, but we don't put him on the stand. Just to keep testifying for the women.
Yes, that's the most important thing.
I agree, that's the most important thing. Would you agree to something like that, Mr. Reader?
Mr. Reader. Mr. Reader.
Edward, we can't do this. We can't get into bed with men like that.
Arthur's right. We can't do business with Nat. He could hurt us. We need to take steps. Nat has already given us everything we need. New evidence, everyone. This is grounds for a postponement.
3 months. 3 months to study an X-ray. It's outrageous. And the girls, do you see the girls? Their eyes are like saucers, terrified, looking at me. How do they think we're going to wait 3 more months? Catherine Shaw could barely even make it into the courtroom today. And Grace, she was trying so hard not to cry. And of course I had all the answers. Go home. Get some rest. It's the best I can do. Get some rest. I don't understand people like Markley. And Reader, how can he play this kind of game with those poor girls sitting right there? And you would think that the company would be eager to take care of this, with the kind of publicity that this has gotten. But Markley seems to enjoy the very sport of it. It's cold, but you can get away with it. Very cold.
Mr. Barry,
What's this?
it's from Catherine Drinker. Mrs. Cecil Drinker of Harvard. She's an industrial hygienist also, and she worked with Dr. Drinker on the study of the radium plant. It was a joint effort, actually.
It's very interesting, Miss Wiley, but we've already seen that document.
I've only seen part of it. Mr. Barry, please. This is the complete report. She sent it over to me this morning. She's been following our case very closely in the papers and was particularly disturbed to read that last article in the Ledger, one where her study clears the company.
Reader doctored the report. He doctored the report.
Apparently, he pulled out one page listing the blood conditions of a dozen employees and passed it off as the whole thing. On the outside, it doesn't look so bad, but in context, it's a different story.
We can use this.
That'll impress the judge.
The judge, Miss Wyatt, I'm not going to wait 3 months to make use of this. I want you to call that contact you have at the New York World. If we don't let us present our evidence in the courtroom, he can read about it in the newspaper.
January 12, 1928. Jack Gilwood here for the Newark Ledger.
Nancy Jane Harlan for the graphic.
Radio girls go to court today.
Radium girls knock at the doors of justice. Will they be heard?
These poor, injured girls face pain,
Disfigurement
ruin.
and death as the clock ticks away their precious moments.
A hearing begins in Chancery Court.
Where the company demands postponement,
While Payless attorney Raymond Barry makes a shocking disclosure,
showing that the company lied to the Department of Labor,
showing that they distorted the results of a Harvard study.
concealing the ill effects of its product.
Read all about it in the ledger.
Read it in the graphic. We care because we care.
That bad?
You didn't read it?
I think a point not to these days.
I wish other people would do the same. Mrs. Mitchell, from across the street, she walked right past me this morning. Didn't say a word to me. I know she saw me. And the women at the market, the green grocer, the way they glanced at each other. And at the club, Mrs. Middleton and the other ladies. The whispers.
Well, why don't you read the journal? Read that. I saw that here the other day.
One woman actually had the nerve to ask me today, "Is it true? Is it true?" she said. "Did your husband really poison those women?" I said, "Mrs. Cowles, if you think it is true, then why would you speak to me at all? I certainly would not associate with women whose husbands did such things."
Well, why do you go there then? That's the way people are.
I've been a member for years.
Well, what do you want me to say, Diane? That I knew we were poisoning people, but I didn't want to stop because we were making too much money?
I certainly don't want you to say such a thing.
Even if it were true?
Is it true?
Is that what you think?
What would you like me to think?
For God's sakes, Diane, it's Bonds of shocking. He's feeding information to the Consumers League so they can railroad us.
Why would the
They're a bunch
consumers?
of women do-gooders, half of them are socialists, probably Reds. Same thing with that club you belong to.
What?
You wouldn't think you could go around fixing all the world's problems while your
I
husband's
can't.
off
I'm
making
sorry.
You're going to quit that club.
Quit the club.
Stop talking to that idiot Mrs. Middleton.
You're not
She doesn't
making
know
any
anything. None of those women know anything, and you don't know anything.
Did you lie to the Department of Labor?
What?
Did you lie?
I didn't lie, I just didn't agree with drinkers' results.
Arthur!
I have a fiduciary duty to the company,
I
Diane.
can't listen to
Diane, I
this!
have documents and articles with people with tumors the size of baseballs, radium therapy, and it's gone.
I'm tired. I'm going to bed.
Diane, we save lives. We make lives better. You can't think I would lie to you, that I would set out to poison people. Diane,
No,
you can't think I would hurt you or Harriet.
certainly not.
Then,
13 girls have died.
people die every day. Newspapers are full of articles of children younger than Harriet dying every day.
But they worked for you.
They also worked other places, Diane. I have a report from a professor from Columbia, same as Drinker. He says there's no connection between the radium and the illnesses. Do you want to see the report?
And what could the cause be?
I don't know, Diane. I just don't know. I tried everything I can to find out, but I just don't know. Please leave. You have to leave. If you don't, there's no point to any of this. Do you remember what you told me when I told my father I wasn't joining the ministry?
You can do as much good in the boardroom as you can in the church.
Do you remember?
You think I forget?
I was such a scared kid. He was an icon. I couldn't have stood up if it weren't for you.
I know you would. I know you would.
I keep searching for signs that my soul is lost. You don't think that, do you?
You're a good man.
You save lives.
You save lives.
It's all for you. You know that, right? It always has been.
I know.
Don't let that be another reporter. Don't answer.
Arthur!
Is that Mr. Lee?
Arthur!
Charlie, for God's sake.
I just got off the telephone with someone from the
Let
ledger.
him wait until the morning.
I'm sorry. Good evening. It's Dr. Lehman.
Dan.
He's dead, Arthur.
Charlie, that's impossible. I just saw him last week.
They were
Dr.
just
Morgan.
here. For cards. They were just here.
Martin's already done the autopsy. He says it was a severe anemia.
He's blaming the radium?
The reporter from the ledger told me they were going to run it on page 1. I told him we would issue a statement by 8 o'clock. That's when he needs it so he can run tomorrow.
Well, what are the services?
Sorry?
The services, Charlie.
I don't know.
Diane, we should send some flowers.
Of course. I'll call Louise.
Yes, call Louise.
We should go see her.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Why ever not?
She's planning to sue.
Louise?
The reporter told me. She's filing a wrongful death action. I've already worked up a statement for the paper. Company chemist for 8 years, always in poor health, recently in
But
decline.
Dan was never sickly. He was always on that golf course or sailing or in that garden. Garden. He has a beautiful garden.
Charlie, let's take care of this in the morning.
Of course. Sorry to bring you the bad news, Mrs. Reader. Good night.
Nice.
Charlie can be a bit excessive at times. We have to say something. I don't know what I'm going to say, but I have to say something. The board expects it.
It's all right, Artie. You need to explain.
Sometimes it's necessary.
You need to explain. We're going to get rid of this now.
There's another half case under the sink.
And we'll get rid of that too. I don't want any more in the house.
I'll do it. Diane. I'm in too far to quit.
I really never expected you to.
February 21st, 1928. To Mr. Raymond Berry. From Dr. Harrison Martin, Chief Medical Examiner, Essex County. We've examined the remains of the deceased Amelia Maja. Radioactive substances have been found in large quantities in the upper jaw, lower jaw, and lumbar vertebrae. No evidence of syphilis was found.
Bodies, radioactive.
Bones of dead girl kick off gamma rays.
Captain Wiley of the Consumers League declares, you evidence shows that the company lied.
Dr. Joseph Neff, a Newark dentist who treated Amelia, has turned over portions of the jawbone that he removed from her mouth. This X-ray film shows that the jawbone was radioactive 5 years after the girl had died.
Well, this course is settled.
Will this make your case?
Think our case? This is our case.
Last night in Rapid Exclusive, the founder of the Radium Corporation broke his long silence with a shocking statement.
Radium is one of the most dangerous substances known to man.
Doctor, to treat your system for the autopsy.
Yeah, and given my expertise in radium extraction, I was able to determine Miss Margaret absorbed enough radium to kill 10 people.
What does it say for your mild radiotherapy? How do you advise against it?
Radium is responsible for the deaths of these girls. It should be considered a most dangerous substance.
Then you agree with the doctor's prognosis that the radium girls will only 1 year to live.
From what I've seen, they'll be lucky to last that long.
Hey, I'll tell you what we should have done. We should have took that reporter up in the robbery when we had the chance. That's what we should have done.
$5,000. Don't make me laugh.
And we should have talked her up too. So I'll tell you what, they'd have paid. And I'll tell you what else we should
Stop
have done.
telling me what we should have done. Lots of things we should have done. Don't do no good talking about them now.
All right, keep your shirt up.
Which do you like? The light blue or the dark blue?
So what's Barry say? Is he gonna go back to the company?
I like the light blue, but it don't fit me so good these days.
Is he gonna try to talk the company up a bit?
Miss Wiley says she thinks another interview will do the job. I say, what's one more? No.
It's worth a try, don't you think? Well, if they came up with 5,000, would you still take it then?
Let him come up. I'm not giving in.
It's called a
A
settlement.
settlement. It's just another way for them to hide.
Let them hide.
Then they win.
So they win. They're gonna win anyways.
She got so much confidence in me.
For Christ's sake, you got one lawyer working for nothing up against 6 other lawyers who are getting a bundle. And you think you still got a chance?
You know what I found out today? They put leg screens in the lab. For the technicians. Did they give us lead screens?
Jesus.
What do you think? 100 girls in a room and they're going to spend that kind of money on us?
Grace.
And they want to keep it all quiet.
What are we
And
doing
Smiley
here?
says that they're going to close down here
Grace.
and move across the river
Grace.
to New York and open up another factory like nothing ever
What are we
happened.
doing here? I thought the idea is that you get some money to settle your debts, get a better doctor, and we get on with
Get
things.
on with things.
You're still wearing my ring?
Tom,
Grace. There's a house for sale from my brother's neighborhood. 2 rooms up, 2 rooms down. It's not much, but it's a start. You'll like it. It's already got that flowered wallpaper. Best of all, it's only $3 on the school.
a school. What do we need with a school?
Not headphones.
Tommy, what do you think is going to happen after this is all over? Do you think everything is just going to go back to the way it was?
Well, why wouldn't it?
I got to see the surgeon again.
Uh-huh.
I got some fluid and he's going to drain it.
Okay.
And then he says that there's going to be more.
So we do it
And
the way it
more
was.
and more and still more. Why can't you see that? How can you talk about buying houses and having babies when you know that there's nothing that...
Grace! Just want for us to be together now. I want to come home to you at night. To my wife, my house. Too old to be living like this. It's in between life. I promise, Grace, I'll do whatever it takes to make it easier for you.
Here,
Grace, what are you doing?
please. Tommy, are you going to make me sick?
I don't want it.
Tommy,
Maybe you just need some rest. That's all. Get some sleep. I'll come see you tomorrow morning.
Tommy.
You get some rest.
find something for these girls.
No, Arthur, we agreed. We need a decisive victory here. Otherwise, we invite more of the same nonsense.
Things have changed, though, Charlie.
Arthur, I know you and Dan were close, but you can't let that cloud your judgment.
Banzashaki's going to testify.
We can deal with him.
How?
Put more money in his pocket.
Now you want to bribe him?
Not a bribe. Consideration.
Consideration!
For an expert witness. Whatever Barry's paying him, we'll just make a better offer.
You don't understand guilt, do you, Charlie?
Right now, I don't have the luxury of thinking.
Well, let me tell you something about guilt, Charlie. It puts an unbearable weight on a man's soul. That's why Banzashaki's doing this. That's why he's testifying for these girls, and he will never testify for you no matter how much consideration you offer.
Settle with these girls and you'll have to settle with all the rest. Neff was right about that. This is just the beginning.
Talk to Edward and see if you can get a conversation going with Barry. Come up with a figure these girls can agree with.
Arthur, what are you trying to do? Do you want to light me out?
You have to give me every penny, Charlie!
Every penny I've made in the last 7 years I've sunk into this company. Why? Because of you. Because you said it was a sure thing. No miss. Why work for Banzashaki when we could work for ourselves? Remember that one? Take a chance, Charlie. Take a chance.
Charlie, we were fooled. Banzashaki fooled us all. The only thing we can do now is clean up this mess the best we can.
Do this and it's the end, Arthur.
You're stepping down?
Not me.
Well,
don't you know they are just one vote away from getting rid of you?
oh, and whose vote is that, Charlie?
Arthur, have you so little faith in me?
I'll still be on the board. You don't have enough votes to take me off. I'll still be on.
And still on the hook if this company goes under. Think about that the next time you let your conscience start to bother you.
March 15th, 1928, to Raymond Barry, Attorney at Law. From Edward Markley, Consul, U.S. Radium. One of our expert witnesses has experienced a serious scheduling conflict, which makes it impossible for him to testify in April. Therefore, we have requested an extension until June. As for your request for a settlement, every case involves some humanitarian aspect. Therefore, I'm afraid that cannot be a basis for settling this one. But I have no doubt you will be rewarded for the good work you're doing. If not in this world, then in the next.
Tommy, please.
Rise and shine.
And Fury.
Time for work.
Well, I'm late. I set the alarm.
Be a $5,000 to pay before breakfast. Up, 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 it's all for the war effort.
Please, I'm so very tired.
No complaining. Good soldiers don't complain.
But I'm dying.
And who isn't?
Get up, Grace, get up. Irene, that's when you had your big photo like that. No, it's not fair. I'm only 26. I should be married by now. I should have a family, my own home.
We'll have to make sacrifices sometimes.
I know I did. And why? Why do we have to make sacrifices? Both sides, Grace.
Science, family, every life is sacrificed to something. It's only the matter of choosing which.
I didn't choose. I didn't get no choice. Sure you did, Grace. Sure you did. Catherine, look at that. Hey, Grace. No, I'm bleeding all over the house.
Oh, no matter. Let's find more heads, I'll painter.
Grace?
Mama.
Grace, Mr. Lee will be here any minute.
Mr. Lee?
He's coming by with the papers for you to sign. Did you fall asleep?
Did Miss Wiley come by?
Miss Wiley.
About Catherine. She said she might be by. Did she stop by?
She might have.
Did you know?
Someone came to the door a while ago. I think your brother answered it. Look, Grace, you gotta get ready.
They took Catherine back to the hospital last night.
I know, dear. I know. After we talk to Mr. Lee, we'll go over there and see how she's doing. Now, who comes with that there?
The dread she died.
Oh, Grace, don't speak such things.
She dies. It's over.
We're 3 months behind on the mortgage, Grace.
You know that.
We can't let this go on.
$1,500, Ma. It's not even a year's wages.
Well, it's better than nothing, ain't it?
Is that only worse? Better than nothing?
Oh, sweetheart, of course not. But the rate things are going, you'll never get inside that courtroom. And even if you do, you can't prove nothing.
Mr. Barry thinks we can.
Mr. Barry ain't paying the bills. There's the doctor, and the bank, and the coal man. You can't expect folks to treat us like charity just because you're sick.
I'm not asking for charity, Ma. I'm just asking for what's owed to me.
Grace, I know it feels like you're letting Catherine down. But if she decided to take the company's offer, would you hold it against her? No, you wouldn't. Now, we'll take that check and pay the bills, and whatever's left, you and Tommy can have. A little something to get you started.
There's nothing to start, Mom.
Why you gotta be so hard on Tommy? Can't you see he just can't bear the thought of you not being with us?
I have to face it. Why can't he?
Do something with your hair, Grace.
$250,000. What would you do with $250,000, Miss Bryant? Why, I haven't the slightest idea. No point to it. Ma, you didn't tell me I had mail. New Mexico. They just keep writing. She was here. Miss Wiley was here. Ma, Miss Wiley was here. She left me a note.
Grace, Mr. Lee's here.
Oh, Miss Wright. Charles Lee.
Ma said you brought the papers.
Yes. Our terms as spelled out to you in the letter. $1,500. Got a check right here. All I need is your signature. It's in triplicate.
Grace, Mr. Lee's a very busy man.
Oh no, take your time. If you prefer, I can come back tomorrow.
No, we'll do this now.
What's hold harmless?
You agree to hold the company harmless from any further legal action.
No more lawsuits?
Correct.
Is that just for me or anybody in my family?
Your entire family. It precludes a wrongful death action also.
This is a confidential settlement.
Yes?
You didn't say nothing about it being confidential.
That's standard for most settlements, Miss Ryder. We like to protect our privacy and your privacy also. That's both ways. You agree to keep quiet about the terms of the settlement, and so do we.
Well, that seems fair.
You need a pen?
I have another question.
Grace, Mr. Lee already explained the settlement to you.
Ma.
I don't mind.
What is contributory negligence, Mr. Lee? It's not in that one. It's in the other papers you filed. When we did the lawsuit, you said that the company's defense was the statute of limitations and contributory negligence.
I'm not sure what you're asking, Miss Ryder.
It means it's our fault. Don't.
It's a standard defense. I wouldn't take it personally.
How else am I supposed to take
Mr.
it?
Lee, Grace has had all the headache all day. Maybe you could leave the
Maybe he
papers.
can just answer the question.
Grace, why are you doing this?
Why didn't you tell me this Wiley was here?
You already made up your mind. She'll only try to change it.
What did she say about Catherine?
Mr. Lee, if you'll leave them
Mom,
papers.
what did she say about Catherine?
She said it don't look good.
Perhaps I'll come back later when Miss Ryder is feeling better.
You didn't answer my question, Mr. Lee. And I'd really like an answer. Because I quit school at 15. I came to work at your factory because my folks needed the money. At your factory, they told us what to do, when to do it, how to do it. My folks didn't raise me to make trouble, so I didn't make trouble. I didn't ask questions, I did what I was told. How do you get contributory negligence out of that?
As I've said, it's a standard defense.
There's nothing standard about what happened to me.
We deeply regret your situation, Miss Fryer, but there is no evidence to tie any wrongdoing to the U.S. Radium Corporation.
Then why are you giving me this money?
It's a humanitarian gesture.
Humanitarian.
Mr. Lee, I'll take them papers.
Humanitarian. Month after month they put us off. Delay after delay. Knowing how sick we were, how tired, how desperate. Humanitarian. You're just waiting for us to die.
Please stop it.
Mom, one by one I watched my friends get sick and die in the most horrible way. And you think I should be grateful for any spare change that they happen to throw at me?
Miss Fryer, this is a very generous offer under the circumstances, and I would advise you to take it. It because it won't be on the table for much longer.
What do you mean?
If Miss Fryer does not sign within 24 hours, we will be forced to withdraw the settlement permanently.
Grace, he's lying.
I beg your pardon, miss?
You're telling me that if I don't sign these papers now, but I come back a week later and say I changed my mind, you'd still rather go to court? You'd still rather some judge there will be? And take your chances that I won't win on sympathy alone? 24 hours. You're just trying to bully me.
Very well then, Miss Fryer. I'll take that for a no. And we'll see you in court.
Yes, you will. You will. They have to carry me in there. You'll see me. You and Mr. Reed are both.
Grace, you call that man back?
I'm going to court.
What are you trying to prove? You know you can't win.
I want those people to look at me, Ma. I want them to look at me and tell me how it's my fault I got sick working in their
And
bed.
what will that get you? What?
Ma, all my life I've done what other people told me to do. I quit school because you said I should. I put that brush in my mouth because Mrs. McNeil said I should. I never said, please, can't I finish school? I never said, I don't like the taste of this paint. Even though I knew. Mom, I knew something wasn't right. The night, I'd lay in bed and I'd look at my dress hanging on the back of the closet door, all aglow. My shoes on the floor, my hairbrush and my comb on the dresser. So much light, Ma, so much light. And I never once questioned. I never once asked. Don't you see? He knew I wouldn't. That's what they were counting on.
Arthur, so it is you making all this noise.
I left messages with your housekeeper, and I know you got those messages.
As we are no longer in business together, I thought it best not to respond.
Is that what this is about?
Perhaps a cup of tea will calm your nerves.
You never said a word about the pink being dangerous. You never said a word to me, and especially not to Dan.
I didn't know.
You didn't know? You invented the paint. How can you lie like that?
I didn't know until it was too late, Arthur.
I should put you through that wall.
Perhaps you should, but you will not. You will sit down, you will have some tea, when you will calm yourself.
I wasn't the technical man. You were the technical man.
I was the technical man. Sit down, Arthur.
I was a salesman. I sold watches, for Christ's sake.
A good one at that. Very good head towards the business. Not such a good head towards the science, but towards the business, very good. Always you could find new ways to cut the cost without hurting the product. That's a gift, Arthur. Now here, have some tea.
Jesus Christ, what's the matter with your hand?
They've been that way for some time.
What, have you been dipping them in ink?
Dipping them in ink. How fond you of the pretty story are? No, if only very. Dr. Martin, he tells me it's a necrosis of the tissue. The cells, they are dying.
What do you mean?
With the dial pages, in the jaw it started. With me, in the hand.
I didn't know.
You have no reason to, Arthur. It's been a long time since I've seen you.
How long?
But I've known for a while. Miss Wiley from the Consumers League persuaded me to assist Dr. Whitman in testing the girls for radium exposure. There aren't that many people around, you know, who can test that sort of thing. So she came to me, knowing I had the equipment and of course the skill. I didn't want to believe her either, Arthur. I didn't want to believe the girls could get sick from my paint. I wanted to show her it was a mistake. So I agreed to help. Me, when Dr. Muslin conducted expired air tests on the girls. It was then that I found out. When my own breath registered radioactive. And then my fingers, they began to turn black. So, you wish to have heard something.
I'm sorry.
Well, perhaps you should make an appointment with Dr. Martin yourself.
Well, what for?
Arthur, you didn't notice he belonged dust on your shoes when you went home at night?
How could I miss it? I tracked it all over the house.
You can be sure that a great deal of it is now in your lungs. Looks familiar?
It's our promotion, please.
An excellent promotion. Und how many new cells does that account for?
I'm not sure on the exact figures, but I'd like to think it helped our medical market quite a bit.
Page 96.
What?
The last chapter. Read it to me.
Radium. Dangerous effects.
And how many articles do you have listed, say? 10, 15?
About 18, it looks like.
And how far back do they go, those articles?
I don't know.
That one there, what is the date?
1906.
1906. Now let me see. When you go into court, you plan to testify that you had no idea radium was dangerous. How do you plan to do that, Arthur? When in your own book it said it was. How can you claim that you did not know?
I never really read it. I never read the book. I hired a man to put it together. Just glanced at the galleys on occasion. But I never actually read it.
How do you mean you never read that book?
We hired an outside company to make the material. We entrusted their content to them.
Which you never read.
I think you'll find, Mr. Berry, that very few presidents read their promotions word for word.
It has your name on it. You authorized the release of the court. You had final approval of the content.
Mr. Lee was in charge of all promotions at the time. I entrusted that to him.
Mr. Reader, you testified that you started at the U.S. Radium Corporation in 1918.
Yes, as a plant manager.
And you held this position for how long?
4 years.
In those 4 years, how often did you venture into the studio?
About every day.
Every day. So you must have seen the girls pointing the questions on their lips.
I don't recall.
You never once saw a single girl put a question to her lips?
I said I don't recall it.
What do you recall, Mr. Reader? You're an awful young man to have such a faulty memory. Objection, Your Honor. I withdraw. No more questions.
Your witness, Mr. Lee.
We have no questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Okay then. All right, gentlemen, please approach. I'm ready to give my standing.
Your Honor, we have yet to present our defense.
I realize that, Mr. Lee. This is to determine standing. I heard enough these 2 days to make a decision. The radium in these girls is an ongoing source for poison in their bones. No, nothing you say will change that fact, will it?
Our witnesses are prepared to testify that the U.S. Radium Corporation could not have known about this danger.
All right. I hereby state that the statute of limitations has not been kicked in, and the girls still have standing to sue.
Your Honor, one more thing. We have a very busy schedule with 2 other cases pending, and a key witness cannot be available until September. Your Honor! I'm sorry, Your Honor, but he is associated with an institution of higher learning, and this is the busiest time of year for him. We cannot expect him to appear until September. Mr. Lee is responsible for that situation. He's the one that keeps asking for continuous delays. Your Honor, we've just agreed to waive our right to present defense at this trial. Surely you will not make us go without our key witness as well?
All right. Trial is set for September. This hearing is adjourned.
Charlie, why can't put him here?
He's going to Europe.
Europe, he's known about this for months. Why would he? Very clever, Charlie. How long can you keep this up?
As long as necessary. Mr. Lee, Mr. Berry, congratulations. I didn't think the court would go for it. You know full well we can't wait until September. One of our clients couldn't even appear in court. Our client has a right to make his defense. We will not wait until September. I promise you that. One way or another, we will find room on the docket. And your expert witness be damned.
Charlie, that girl is still staring at me.
I wouldn't worry about it.
But Charlotte, she thinks this is my fault. How can I convince her that I didn't want any of this to happen?
You don't. You don't talk to her. You don't convince her.
But Charlie, she looks like death.
They all look like death, Arthur.
Grace, that man is violent. He won't look at me. He won't ever look at me. He just looks right past me like I'm not even here.
It doesn't matter, Grace. He heard you.
June 4th, 1928, Nancy J. Hollander for the New York Graphic.
Jack Gilwood for the Legend.
Raymond Berry seeks trial date for early summer.
As the U.S. Radium Corporation announced the settlement.
A settlement.
$10,000 for each girl, and $12 a week for the rest of their lives.
$12 a week.
Read all about it in the lecture, your first source for news.
The company also agrees to pay the medical expenses for each girl for the remainder of her life, and the girls have agreed to submit to a periodic examination by a panel of physicians yet to be appointed. Questions?
What led to this settlement or about other pending cases?
It is purely for humanitarian reasons that the U.S. Radium Corporation agreed to the settlement. We admit no wrongdoing whatsoever.
Where does the company go from here?
We are pleased to have brought this lengthy litigation to an end, and we look forward to many more years serving the community. And that's C.B. President.